What's going on, family? This is Samuel Genus here, and welcome to Joining the 1%, where me and my family, we talk about our journey towards business ownership, wealth, influence, and charity, and all the lessons that we learned along the way. Again, I'm Samuel Genus. This is my lovely wife, Sharon Genus.
Hello.
None of our kids are here in this particular episode, but we do have a special guest with us. Her name is Angela Brand. She is the CEO and founder of Angela Brand Enterprise LLC, a one-stop shop for authors, coaches, and speakers to learn how to get paid to be themselves by turning their mess into their message. I love that.
That's awesome.
That will build leverage and influence. Angela is also a best-selling author, women empowerment speaker, trainer, publisher, and personal branding coach. She has overcome many challenges in her life and now uses her mess as her message to empower others with her story and what she learned in her process. She has authored 4 book anthologies, and I'm going to have her explain what that means. She has authored 4 book anthologies on her own and been part of 2 others, and believes in leaving a legacy through her books for the next generation. Coach AB, Angela Brand, started her business with the burning desire to see others walk in their purpose. She dedicates her life to train life coaches and motivational speakers, providing them with certifications through Angela Brand Coaching Academy, and then take them on the Queendom Takeover Women Empowerment Tour as part of their training. She has been trained and coached by some of the world's most influential leaders, such as Lisa Nichols, Eric Thomas, Les Brown, Bob Proctor, just to name a few. Angela Brand is known as the girl on fire that will stop at nothing until she has done everything the Lord has sent her to earth to do and stand on, living full and dying empty. Welcome, Angela Brand. That's pretty good. I'm like,
Oh my God.
Boy.
Where do I sign up? God.
I hear like, oh, who's that?
Like, my goodness.
Oh, that's me.
yeah.
I
I've
love
always hear
it.
people say it's funny like hearing it read to you.
Yeah,
It's like,
she was like,
wow,
yep,
so
that's
welcome,
me.
welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So this is so you're like, we got all her books here and everything.
Yeah.
She
that's a lot.
I always say when
I
you
can hold
when you publish the books, it's
Yeah.
like you doing something. You know. So thank you, and thank you for coming and accepting our invitation. We met on Facebook, and I was like, okay, this would be a pretty good. After looking at all your information, I was like, yeah, this would be a pretty good guest to have on the show. So tell us a little bit about, explain that word,
Anthology.
anthology. Yeah, break that down for me, because
We ever heard the chicken soup for the soul?
the what?
Chicken soup for the soul?
Yes, I've heard that.
Those are book anthologies.
Okay.
Where you collect other readings and other writings from other
Gotcha.
authors and you compile it into a book. So I am
Nice.
the compiler and the visionary of the book. And they contribute to my book.
Nice. Pretty good.
Okay.
So like, what led you well, first you provide you provide, just so our audience can understand, you provide, you help women become life coaches.
Yes.
And what other things you do? Because I don't want to mess it up. I'll let you present.
I help them become life coaches, motivational speakers.
Okay.
Then I help them publish their books. I help them brand from web design, from logo creation.
Yeah.
So whatever they need. So because what I found out was a lot of people want to get into the industry and they spend money going here, going there, trying to figure everything on their own.
Right.
And then here it is, they 2 and 3 years in a business and they still stuck.
Right.
Nice,
Like
nice.
I was.
Yeah.
So I say, I took everything I knew how to do and say, God, how make some sense out of all of this.
Wow.
And I say, you know what? We're going to do a one-stop shop.
Yeah.
So that's when it birthed, my business went to a whole nother level.
Wow.
Wow.
How long have you been doing this?
2 years.
Wow.
Wow.
The branding part for a year.
Wow. Nice. And
I
who are
love
you
that.
targeting? Like, I know you're targeting women, but like, what's the age group and all that, the demographics, all that kind of stuff?
Women from 35 to 55. Yeah, 35, they finally, most of the women finally coming to a settled place after they've been through so many different challenges, raised their kids and struggled. So now it's like, okay, I need to do something different. That's normally when you hit that age. It's something about, turning 30 and 40. It's like, okay, tomorrow's not promised, so I really need to, figure out a way to discover my purpose.
Yeah.
So that's why that age group right there. 50 from 55, they're at a place I've lived for everybody else. Now it's time to live for myself.
Wow.
I raised the kids, they out the house. I dedicated my life to a marriage that I don't have anymore. So that age, she's scrambling for her true identity.
Right.
Because she may have gotten married when she was younger and didn't have that time to really get to know herself.
Yeah.
So a lot of those women, they still trying to figure out who they are.
Yep.
Right.
That's the state of women today. Well, not today. That's the state of women. We dedicate our lives to everyone, our entire adulthood. Pretty much, we get married, we have kids, and then we find out, okay, what am I going to do now? So that's where you come in. And I love that because we need our minds fixed after everything we've done and dealt with, and we now need to find ourselves. I hear that a lot. Like, I'm almost 50, a couple of years before I get there, but I hear that my kids are adults now, not adults, young adults and teenagers, but it's like we have to now, okay, where do I fit in now? Because they don't need me as much anymore. I want to do something now. So is that where you come in?
That's where I come in.
Yeah, I like that.
Right.
Help you make sense of everything that you've been through.
Yeah.
I always say when we were younger, a lot of things we wasn't taught.
Yeah.
So now I find myself teaching that to women that should have learned and taught their kids, but they don't know.
Right.
So you like becoming their mama.
It sounds like the mindset.
It sounds like it's like
Well,
things your mama should have told you.
Midwife.
Yeah.
I would say I'm a midwife. I would say I'm a purpose pusher.
Okay.
Your answer to your prayer. I come to make sense of your chaos and your mess.
Right.
That's where I fit in. I have a couple of clients that say, well, I'm the bad child. So they automatically, look at me as a mom figure.
Yeah.
So
I could see that. Yeah.
So, like, what are some of the biggest challenges you've noticed with that targeted audience? What are just some of the biggest? You're looking at it and you're like, okay, wow, and then embracing, you're seeing all that, and then you're like, this is my purpose. Like, I got this.
Getting them to the point of unlearning what they learned. And then relearning again. And really tackling those belief system. I call them the broken belief system and the sexy excuses.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I know, like, I'm looking at some of the people you were trained by and mentored by and stuff like that, and I noticed they deal a lot with, I think Tony Robbins even used words like mental breakthroughs and, just a breakthrough moment. And I remember listening to someone saying that they stopped doing these long, 12, 15-hour cassettes when people used to do those cassettes back in the days. And he was like, he condensed it all to just one CD or one DVD. He said, because really all it is just like that one moment where it just clicks and you realize like, wow, I just need to unlearn certain things and I just have to embrace that,
Right. By nature, we want to stand on what we've been taught. Whether it's in the schools, whether it's in church, whether it's in home, all those different things, because that make up your belief system and make up your identity to a certain extent.
Right.
And then when I come and say, no, that was not right. What worked for grandmother, it worked for them back in that days. But it don't work for you right now. And you have to discover what's going to work for you and what God has called you to. That's the ultimate goal.
Right.
Cool. Well, we're going to take a quick break because you just said like a mouthful. Like, oh my goodness, man. We're going to take a quick break and we're going to come right back to that whole, like, we stand upon what we've been taught. It's like we don't want to let that go. And we go through our whole life holding on to something that may not even be relevant for where we are in our life right now.
Yeah.
When we come back, we're gonna take a quick commercial break and pay some bills, and then we come back. We're gonna continue this great conversation with Angela Brand. We'll be right back. My name is Samuel Genus, and I'm the founder of YouShare360.com, and my company created an all-in-one business platform called The Back Office. And with this platform, business owners can manage all of their contacts, their email campaigns, their marketing funnels, their automations, their e-commerce, their billing, their tasks, projects, and teams. I created The Back Office because I saw that in order for solopreneurs and mom and pop shops and small business owners to become successful, they actually need all of these various features. They need CRM, they need email campaign, they need marketing funnels and automations, they need to be able to sell products or send out invoices, they need to be able to manage their projects and manage their teams and manage all their tasks. And so we was like, many of them were just like pulling their hair out. They was frustrated with trying to connect all these different platforms together. So there was a lot of tech headache, there was a lot of things they had to learn. And then on top of that, to get all these different features and software, the cost went up. And so when you're starting a business, you're trying to keep your costs low. So we decided to create a platform that have all these features and modules within the platform at one low price. One of the things I like about the plans that we offer is that we don't just consider ourselves a IT company. So we're not just giving you technology, we're also giving you education, and we're giving you consulting. So with our plans, when you select the Essential Plan or higher, we actually provide you with free strategy sessions throughout the year. It's actually associated with your plan because we've noticed that many business owners, they get the software, or they get technology, and they think it's a magic bullet. And then we realize that, hey, there's some things you got to learn. You need to have a plan. You need to have a strategy. You need to have a blueprint in place. So we decided to incorporate those services with our plan. So when you pick one of the plans within the back office, you automatically get the training, and you get the strategy sessions, and you get implementation support. To sign up is easy. Simply go to YouShare360.com, click on the sign up button in the top right, and you'll be on your way. Welcome back, everyone. This is Samuel Genus, and you're watching Joining the 1%, where me and my family talk about our journey towards business ownership, wealth building, influence, and charity, and all the lessons we learned along the way. This is my wife, my baby's mama, she's my side chicken, my side piece.
Oh, God.
And the mistress too.
Yeah, pretty much.
All that, I guess.
All
Right?
that. So, and we have with us Coach AB. Is that good? Coach AB, Angela
better.
Brand. She's on the show, and she's been dropping some jewels.
Yes.
And she's a trainer. She teaches people how to become licensed life coaches. She's written a bunch of books. So I think she has something to say.
Yes.
But
Let's
before
let her talk.
we went on a break, she said something that really hit me, because this is actually where I am in my life, and I'm a man, so I'm sorry, ladies, I'm picking her brain too. I know it's for women, but I'm trying to get all the nuggets I can get. She said something about standing on lessons like that we learned in the past, that are not even really relevant for today. Can you just elaborate some more on that and how difficult that is? Because it's like we think we're right because somebody told us something. And sometimes the person that told us that was our mother, our father, somebody that we looked up to, our pastor, only to realize that, wait a minute, that it's not working in this particular situation,
Right.
And the feelings that create and all that. Can you just kind of dig into that some more?
Well, I can say it like this. We have been taught through slavery a poverty mindset as a black people. And we've been taught that we have to struggle, we have to survive, but we wasn't taught how to thrive and to actually build the wealth and a legacy for our children. So for me, in dealing with my clients and coming from that mindset, and I tell them everything somebody taught you.
Right.
Your thoughts, how to dress, everything
Yeah.
is getting them to think for them. Getting them to think for themselves and to make their own decisions. Not going to ask in nobody else's opinion, but what's true and authentic for you and what God's had for you.
Right.
So getting them to unlearn the things. Not saying everything, because some things is relevant, but some things they have to unlearn, just as I did. Far as it's evil to chase after riches or to build wealth. You know, I don't want to say I want to be rich because, you know, the things I was taught in church.
Right.
You know, those different things. The limited
Right.
beliefs of just going to work. But what about creating your own? You know, not having a free mind to be creative or a free thinker. You know, those limited beliefs. And not knowing you freeing your mind and tapping into that creative space is your wealth place.
Wow. That is
But
awesome.
we've been locked in to this
Yes.
mold. Like I was telling somebody the other day, and I was like, you know, and you mentioned like even with the mind and the self-limiting beliefs in the sense of like, I'm sure you have clients who are even afraid to increase their prices, you know?
Yeah, or
Just
don't want to charge at all.
Yeah, you know? And it's like, meanwhile, everybody else is just doing it. And even the people you work for, they may pay you $10 an hour, but they're charging their clients $70 an hour, you know?
Exactly.
And it's like, and all that. And it's kind of interesting how I was talking to somebody about the difference between looking at things from an employee perspective versus an employer perspective. And I don't know if you follow a lady, her name is Danielle Pierce. She's online, and she was saying sometimes that we say entrepreneurship is hard because of the way we was raised. We weren't raised to look at business this way. We're always looking at it from this perspective or that perspective. And because of that, it's already hard, but it becomes even harder because of our mindsets. How difficult is it for like to help? How difficult is it to get these ladies to unlearn?
I mean, the fact that we have to be taught that we have a mind of our own and we can think, you know, and make our own decisions, and as long as we're not hurting anyone, like that says a lot. You know?
It does. For me, I had to identify it in me first. Like, okay, I'm still thinking like an employee. Okay.
Right.
So I explain it like this. An employee provides service. A CEO or an employer create a service.
Yeah.
So you look at what your client's going to need before they need it.
Right,
And then you going to create it. That's where the one-stop shop comes from.
right.
Yeah.
So an employee expects every Friday
To get paid,
to get paid. They calculate their hours. I get 10,000 an hour times 40. This is
Yep.
what I'm gonna get. You know, then we're taught to, you know, to go by a budget and not create your own budget.
Yeah.
So when I discovered the lifestyle I wanted to live, this is what I want to make. And then I adjusted my prices and my fees to fit the lifestyle I want to live,
Yeah.
not the lifestyle that was just handed to me.
Yeah.
So
This
in
sounds
that
familiar, right?
moment,
She sounds like I'm like, man, you sound like a relative of my mind. She's like, like wow, like, see, I'm glad you're here. So now I don't sound crazy.
and that was
We
that
gotta
was
be
the
friends.
Yeah, see, I'm
need some of
man.
and that was my
Shoot.
defining moment. I was in this master class and it was breaking the glass ceiling of your limited beliefs or your income.
Right.
And then when she gave us the exercises to do, she was like, pick a number that you want to make per year.
Right.
And she said, times it by 3. He said, keep times it until you feel uncomfortable. The first one, I was very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking in my mind, I can buy some shoes, I can buy this, I can buy this. And then she began to ask, what would you be afraid of? And then what I found out that I would be afraid of was so liberating for me.
Right. And isn't
It was, oh my God.
But isn't it crazy? So like this is, oh man, this is interesting because a lot of, I mean, me growing up in the African American community, there's a lot of black women in the church. You know, there's more black women than black men. These are women of faith.
No, you.
But yet at the
Trump
yet at the same time, where they have faith, but then you're bringing like this whole other aspect to them, and it's like this other aspect of faith in themselves, faith in what God created when He created them, and it's almost like they have faith in God, but it's almost like they don't have faith in themselves.
They have, I'm going to say limited faith and broken faith.
Right.
It's not a reality faith. Because even thinking that God is going to magically
Right.
provide. You know?
Right. Yeah.
And every command he gives, he always gives you an action.
Yes.
Yes, he does.
Right.
He gives you something that you have to do, and I begin to look at, okay, we were taught to pay our tithes, we was taught to come to church every day, we was taught to, different things, but half the church is still broke. Over
Right.
90% of the church is still broke.
Because you're the missing link.
Exactly. So what I began to focus on is Genesis 1:26.
In the beginning, he created.
No, it's Genesis
So,
was he created
what-
man
In
and
his
the
image,
image
in his
to
likeness,
have dominion.
to have dominion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like when I
That's
really,
your purpose.
right, when I really broke down that word dominion and to dominate,
Man.
I'm gonna say this, then I'm gonna go back. So every year I begin to pick one word that I stand on. 2018 was determination. 2019 was
I heard
dominate.
that before.
So when I broke the word dominate down, to take over, to take control, so I'm like, okay, I don't want to take over anybody else,
Right.
but I want to
What's
take
for
control
you?
of my mind.
Right. Because that's yours.
Yeah.
It's mine.
Right.
I have free will and free right to what I think.
Right.
God does not force you
To think
on
a
how to
certain- right.
think.
Right. It's like someone
Yeah.
said,
Right.
we have to choose to choose.
We have to choose to choose.
Right.
I choose the birthright, which is to dominate.
Right.
If I can't dominate my life, therefore I'm still in slavery.
Right.
Wow.
And typically in life, a lot of people are trying to tell you, well, I was telling somebody, like you had mentioned the $10 an hour, I tell people, like, you're worth a whole lot more than that. They're just paying you what they want to pay you or based upon their budget. But
yeah.
you're actually worth more than that. They're not going to tell you that. And it's like, we have to tell ourselves that. Interesting.
Exactly.
Wow.
But you really have to be worth more than that. Like, have you come across people that aren't, like, how do you get them to be
She's like,
worth?
have you come across worthless people? Is that what
You know, well,
like, you ain't worth nothing.
I get them to the point
everyone is.
of they're their biggest investment in life.
Right.
And if you're not willing to invest in your success, your greatness, then therefore you're not even worth doing it.
Right.
Okay.
Because people come to invest in themselves because you invest in yourself.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right.
So I can't teach anybody anything if I never invested in myself.
You won't
I
have
can't
nothing to
even
offer.
charge
Right.
anything. I have to invest.
Right.
So when people come to me, they come for what I've already invested in. The
Right.
tears, the hard work, the heartache, the classes, the training, the money I invested, the experience that I've learned. That's what I invested in.
Right.
And that's valuable.
Right. And even being able to process, like
Right.
that phrase you have, being able to process your mess and yet
Make it a message.
make it a message.
Yeah.
Because like most people, like their mess becomes their venting session. It becomes, they just complaining. They just get on Facebook or whatever and just start, screaming at
Yes.
everybody. They don't channel it and be like, well, that mess could make you some money. That mess could.
I had just spoke in an event in Virginia, and I tell it everywhere I go. So it was one young lady. She was a part of the audience, and she began to say what I said to her liberated her because she was in a situation she was battling going back. So I told her, I said, look at everything they said to you, look at everything they done to you. I said, you put in a book. Curate your roadmap so when other women come to you that's coming out of that situation, you already provide a roadmap for somebody that you did not even meet, that maybe you're not even born yet, not even thought about, but you already turned your mess into your message.
Wow.
Getting people to that point right there, that all the hell that I've been through, I can literally give it a message. That's the biggest transformation because some people are stuck in the mess. They did this to me. They did that to me. I was one of those coming, with my father, my situation. But I had to look at it from a different perspective.
Right.
I had to look at my rape from a different perspective. I had to look at being molested from a different perspective. I had to look at being a single mom, but having kids by 3 different men from a different perspective. I had to look at raising my kids for 20 years from a different perspective.
Right.
And what makes me qualified? Because I've been through all that, and look at me now.
Right.
Yep.
Because it didn't break me. It didn't hinder me. It didn't cause me to lose my mind. So I had to look back. What did I learn from every phase of my life? And you're holding it in your hand.
Awesome.
So we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna get into this. One book at a time. We're gonna get into this. We'll be right back after these messages. Starting a new business is exciting, but it quickly becomes overwhelming and frustrating if you don't have the proper guidance. After working with dozens of business owners, I realized that they struggled with understanding marketing concepts. They didn't know what they needed to be successful. They struggled with implementation and optimization, and they struggled with scaling their business. So to help my clients, I created an activity workbook entitled Joining the 1%, Module 1, where I walk business owners step by step through the process of picking the right product, establishing a reasonable plan, creating the marketing funnel they need for their business, and how to optimize the funnel for growth. This is not a book you read, it is a book you do. This is why we call it an activity workbook. Instead of chapters, it has steps, and all you have to do is follow the steps to move your business forward. So if you're tired of running in circles and if you don't actually have a game plan, then you want to get this activity workbook, Joining the 1%, Module 1. Go to www.joiningthe1%.com. Take care. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Samuel Genus, and you're watching Joining the 1%, where me and my wife and my family, my kids, they're not here now, but we talk about our journey towards business ownership, wealth building, influence, and also charity. Charity, of course, meaning love, what you do with all that money. We have a special guest, Coach AB, Angela Brand, and she has been talking to us about, mindset, self-limiting beliefs, and talking about turning your mess into a message, and how she, used her past and her experience and turned it into a message. And she said just before we went to the commercial break that this is her message. It's that's just profound. I'm gonna let my wife. She wanted to say some things, so I'm gonna let you kind of take it.
Like she has all these interesting goodies here. About 3 books, right?
And a workbook.
And a workbook. I really am intrigued about the workbook because it seems like you would really be digging in to yourself a lot in here. Where would you suggest that someone would start? Would they start with the workbook? Should they give you a call, or should they read one of these books? Like what?
They need to give me a call.
Well, let's do that right now. How do they reach you?
Well, they can reach me at www.angelabrandenterprise.com via Facebook, The Queendom Coach AB, IG, Twitter, email brandme@angelabrandenterprise.com.
Cool. So our editor will be bringing it up on the screen somewhere around now.
Put it in the description box.
So check her out. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. She's dropping some jewels. Like I'm already prepared to sign my wife up. I didn't even ask her permission. I'm just like, go join her.
No, I mean, I would love to, though. I would.
I'm like, where do we sign at? Actually, I'm gonna say this for you men out there, for you husbands out there. I'm always curious of things that I feel like a husband should be a teacher to his wife, and the wife should be a teacher to her husband. And I'm the type of person when I see
men just dominate.
Yeah, well, I mean,
in a sense,
I'm a little bit calm. But at the same time, typically when I find something that's really good, I typically bring it to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's like, I'm like, hey, Shan, you need to check this out. And it's like listening to you. And I didn't really know. I was looking at your stuff, but I just didn't know all that was in you.
I get that a lot. I get
it. Yeah. I was just like, wow. Like,
came in all quiet.
I was impressed already. When we was talking, I was looking at the site, I was already impressed. And I was, peeping things you was talking about, looking at some of your videos and stuff. But it's like, wow, like, I'm like in the amen corner over here, So like you have, which one was the first? I think this one was your first book,
yes,
right?
That's my baby.
The Queendom Diaries. So what's a quick synopsis of this one?
Well, the Queendom Diaries is me sharing my personal diaries.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 12-women book anthology. We wrote letters to the little girl in us, our younger self. And we wrote 5 different letters. One of my letters I wrote to my 5-year-old self that was being molested. I told her things nobody never told her. I consoled her, I comforted her, I encouraged her, and I motivated her. I talked to my teenage years, the angry teenager, battling with identity crisis. That letter's called Who Am I? So I told her who she was. Wow. Then one of my other letters is She Really Does Love Me. It was a letter written about my mother because I was angry for many years at my mother because I felt like she allowed my father to keep me a secret. So I had to put myself in her shoes.
Wow.
17 years old, having a baby by an older man. So I had to, put myself in her situation. She really does love me. She only did what she knew at the time. Then in my last letter, which is my most powerful letter for me, is a letter from your future. Your mess became your message. So I spoke to my whole life, everything that you've been through. It was a mess, you was hurt, but now it's time to give your message.
Wow, that's powerful stuff. And then that led to. Did that lead to
that
the
led to
workbook?
the workbook because I felt like when a lot of women read it, it was going to leave them open and exposed on what to do next. So the workbook, I created them a roadmap of healing the broken little girl inside of them. The one that they pray over, the one that they preach over, the one that they shout over, the one that they, mother over, wife over. That little girl needs to be broken. So if you open the workbook, you'll see it will say release her and set her free.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then not that was it. Said release her and set
in
her
this
free.
book?
Yeah, and not that. That's my teaching version.
Okay.
But the regular book is say release her and set her free, and then the back of it is say did you release her? Did you set her free?
Wow.
Because that broken little girl is a connection to your future. If you still trying to be in a relationship broken, that little girl, she's going to sabotage every relationship, every business deal. Everything you try to do because you're trying to live on without healing her first.
Right. Wow.
And that's the key to any woman's or any person's success is healing that broken little girl, that broken little boy, the one that don't trust, the one that don't know how to love, the one that's been misguided, the one that's been abused. That's the person that mainly making all your life decisions.
So what do you come across a lot of women who just they're afraid to dig. They just want to stay on this surface level. It's just like, how's the weather today? And, and you just sitting there just like looking for that opening. Or how do you handle those situations where they're just like on the shallow territory, trying to live their life in the shallow territory? And all these years of experience and then having your own experiences. And then on top of that, all this training and all this experience with other women that you're, been guiding and coaching, and you're now seeing them on that shallow. How do you even like get them to go from shallow to like, here, let's walk with me. Let's go a little bit deeper into the ocean, And they're just like, no, I'm comfortable over here.
I'm cool. I've had many women for many years. They run from me. They didn't take my class, and then they end up coming to take it. But I believe God had given me a special, unique way to touch each woman. Right. I guess by the sound of my voice, my lightness, politeness, my patience. So they have no choice but to embrace it eventually.
Wow.
And I would say if you would die today, not knowing that you didn't reach your full potential because of what you could not face.
Your discernment must be through the roof now. Yeah.
Wow. So then that led
of other women.
Oh, go ahead.
In the presence of other women.
Because I know what it sounds like. I know what it look like.
Yeah.
I know what the makeup look like when you're trying to cover it up.
Yeah.
So it's like because I was there, I can see it, I can smell it.
Yeah.
So it's like I understand because I was that girl.
Yeah.
At the end of the book, Queendom Diaries, I wrote a poem. It's called I Stand As You. Women, we compete against each other, but she got to know I stand as you.
Right.
I stand right where you are right now.
That's that transparency, and that's what we need. Yeah.
Is that what led to the sisters?
Yes.
After that, the whole sisterhood thing.
Sisterhood thing.
Can you talk about that for a few minutes?
That was all of my books, I look at them as a legacy. I want to share my diaries with my granddaughter, with my great-great-granddaughter. I want to create that roadmap because when I begin to look back, there is no roadmap in our family. And you have to go back, what was great-grandmother like and what did y'all struggle with and what is this? I don't want my granddaughter to have to figure out what we struggle with, because I've given her my diary.
That's beautiful.
And isn't that interesting? Because we was 2 Sundays ago during our family time, and I was talking to my kids, and I was just like, and it just hit me like an epiphany. I was like, wow, I'm gonna start speaking to. Remember, I said, I'm gonna start speaking to my great grandkids. You know what I mean? So that they won't even have to hear it from your mouth. They'll be able to go on YouTube and get the book. Like, look, I'm gonna hear it from great great grandpa. This is what he stood for. This was his convictions. These were his values. You know what I mean? And so I'm gonna give it to them. And I realized, I'm like, man, like who in our ancestry can we be like, man, like what were their values? What's their story? Like we just don't have it.
What's their name?
My name is Samuel Genus, and I'm the founder of YouShare360.com, and my company created an all-in-one business platform called The Back Office. And with this platform, business owners can manage all of their contacts, their email campaigns, their marketing funnels, their automations, their e-commerce, their billing, their tasks, projects, and teams. I created The Back Office because I saw that in order for solopreneurs and mom and pop shops and small business owners to become successful, they actually need all of these various features. They need CRM, they need email campaign, they need marketing funnels and automations, they need to be able to sell products or send out invoices, they need to be able to manage their projects and manage their teams and manage all their tasks. And so we was like, many of them were just like pulling their hair out. They was frustrated with trying to connect all these different platforms together. So there was a lot of tech headache, there was a lot of things they had to learn. And then on top of that, to get all these different features and software, the cost went up. And so when you're starting a business, you're trying to keep your costs low. So we decided to create a platform that have all these features and modules within the platform at one low price. One of the things I like about the plans that we offer is that we don't just consider ourselves a IT company. So we're not just giving you technology, we're also giving you education, and we're giving you consulting. So with our plans, when you select the Essential Plan or higher, we actually provide you with free strategy sessions throughout the year. It's actually associated with your plan because we've noticed that many business owners, they get the software or they get technology and they think it's a magic bullet. And then we realize that, hey, there's some things you got to learn. You need to have a plan. You need to have a strategy. You need to have a blueprint in place. So we decided to incorporate those services with our plan. So when you pick one of the plans within the back office, you automatically get the training and you get the strategy sessions and you get implementation support. To sign up is easy. Simply go to YouShare360.com, click on the sign up button in the top right, and you'll be on your way.
What's their name?
Right.
So I'm going to tell you this story, then I'm going to go to that book. So my granddaughter, she came down, she's 5. And I say, look, G baby, I say, G-Ma wrote this book for you. When you get older, I want you to read it. She said, well, G-Ma, I'm just a kid. I won't remember. You're going to have to remind me. So I was like, okay, I'll remind you.
Yeah.
So this book, because a lot of women are in competition with one another. And one of the things that God showed me, it goes back through slavery. When the light-skinned women were in the house and the dark-skinned women were in the outhouse. And there's always been this spoken and unspoken competition amongst women. And my goal was to develop a sisterhood, a tribe of women that celebrate each other and to give them those nuggets that they learned in life. Like if you look at some of the chapters, thou shalt not fail to become, thou shalt go after your dreams, thou shalt not give from an empty cup. And I tell people a lot of times, you've been given out of an empty cup. You don't even know what it's like to be full of yourself, full of your ideas, full of your thoughts, full of your creativity, full of your brilliance, full of your intelligence, full of everything that God put in you. But you've been given from a place, from an empty cup, to where you give them your hurt, you give them your pain, you give them your lack. But what about giving from a full cup?
Right.
Oh gosh.
I say, when you call me, every time you speak to me, my cup is going to be full. Oprah Winfrey says something that just shifted my whole mindset about being filled up. She said when she first started, people used to always say she's full of herself. And then she had to think about it. She said it wasn't a bad thing. She's full of everything that Oprah has to offer.
She has a lot to say.
Right. When I thought about that, I'm like, yeah, I'm full of Angela.
Right.
I love Angela. I don't want to be full of somebody else's ideas about
Right.
me.
Right.
Somebody else's perception about me. What they said I couldn't do.
Right.
What they said I wasn't qualified to do. I want to be full of the cup that God poured in me. And allow everything he put in me to overflow.
Right.
That's
Right,
it. So I was like,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
So there's a
Powerful.
lot of other chapters. Thou shalt embrace your femininity, because sometimes as a woman, we have allowed the things we went through to cause us to operate in a masculine trait.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Always, yes.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like you wonder
Yeah.
why your relationships don't work, because two masculine cannot be in relationship. You have to have a masculine energy and a feminine energy.
Yeah.
So I do
That's
a workshop from
embracing
the
your
workbook called Embracing Your Femininity.
femininity, yeah.
It's about a 4 to 5 hour workshop that I do.
Nice, nice. Wow. Finding your tribe.
Yes.
What is that about?
Find the people who celebrate you.
Yeah.
Right.
Awesome.
Good stuff. Wow. I'm just like, my mind is like, you just kind of like threw me against the wall, just like with all that. I'm just
I'm trying to write a book.
You
Take
trying,
care.
or you're in the process of?
I'm in the process of writing my
she's-
book.
You tell her,
Thank
like coaching,
you.
she's doing all
Thank you. Yes, because it's I'm writing it, and it's about taking care of yourself. And that's what I was saying, finding your tribe, finding people that celebrate you. You know, it may not be right here or right there, but you have to find it. And when you find it, you better hang on to it.
But you know who your first tribe is?
Tell me.
Me, myself, and I.
Okay. Yes.
Because I can't let somebody else out support me.
Right, right.
I can't let somebody else out celebrate me.
Right. Yeah.
I can't.
And that's what I said. True happiness is celebrations of
I do it
yourself.
first,
Yeah.
and it sets the tone to how people treat me. When I discovered that, I teach people how to treat me.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And if I celebrate me, then guess what? I'm going to attract people into my life that celebrate me.
Awesome.
And that goes in, I'm real big on the law of attraction.
Right.
So it's like I have to be the first partaker in everything that I do.
Yeah.
And this is your new book.
Yes.
That's did it come out yet, or it's on the
Yes,
way?
it released September 28th.
Okay, cool. And this one, what is this one about? 12 laws to women in business?
Women in business, all the things that we did wrong. And we want to give the laws of how to build a business the right way. And I started off that book with Thou Shalt Shift Your Paradigm. Then I talk about the employee and the CEO mindset. I talk about how to break those limited beliefs, how to change your belief system, how to, through auto-suggestion and programming your subconscious mind, and exactly what you are doing. Everything you have to do, you have to be intentional.
Right, right.
Growth is intentional. Shifting is intentional. So I could really go into depth of how to do that, how to make that shift.
That's good stuff. It's as you was going through some of your experiences, it just proves the point. It's like, what doesn't kill you, it's gonna make you stronger, better,
Yes.
faster. And it's like, it didn't kill you.
It did. It killed the old me and birthed the new me.
Right.
Right.
That was part of the process.
So you was
part of the
born
process.
again.
Into my true identity.
Right, right. And I like that Genesis 1:26. That's one of my biggest things that I tell people. Is like, that's what God made when He made us. And it's like, everybody wants to put all these other labels on us, and but that's what He made. And the more we tap into that, we're actually our Father is actually a supreme being, capable of anything, and that we're His descendants.
I tell people God can't do nothing without us. He can't do nothing without me. I am a representation of who God is.
Right.
So if He's powerful, I'm
Right.
powerful. If He's all-knowing, I'm all-knowing. Because I'm an embodiment
Right, right.
of who God is. and what he's capable of.
Right.
And when I got that revelation that I can do all things.
Right. And he's counting on us to do it.
Exactly.
You know, because people ask me, they're like, well,
He
why?
passed the torch.
Yeah, they're like, why is there
Yes.
hurt in the world? Because you ain't doing nothing about it.
Exactly.
Like, why is there hunger? Because you ain't feeding them. Like
There's a
we're supposed to be
song.
his hands and
Yeah.
feet. You
And
know?
it is so funny because you think about it, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, psychiatrist wasn't a big thing to
Right.
talk about.
Exactly.
Now that mental health is on a rampage,
Yeah.
now they're popping up everywhere. But where were you then?
Right.
Right.
And I tell people, untreated abuse turns into mental illness.
Yes. Right.
When you look at half, now I'm not talking about the ones that's schizophrenic and have chemical imbalances.
Right.
I'm talking about the bipolar or the depression and those things. Somewhere along the line, they dealing with something
Yep.
that nobody knew they was dealing
Exactly.
with.
Yeah.
And
Right.
they can't get through it. That little person in them is like, you know what? I'm about to cut a fit because I'm hurting.
Right.
Can't nobody help me. But the grown person is like, I've already done this. I can't let nobody know I'm still struggling with
So I'm
this.
hiding it.
I'm embarrassed. I can't do this. I did it for many years. And then you get to the point where one of my models is take ownership.
Right.
That's ownership of who you are, where you are, where you've been, and where you're going. It first start with me. Who am I now?
Right.
And then who am I called to be?
Right.
Then where am I at in life right now?
Right.
And that's going to determine where you've been and where you go from here. Yep, I did that.
Yeah.
I did all those things that happened to me. Yep, I was that
Yeah.
girl.
And not
Yeah.
and not allowing it to bring you down when someone else brings it up. I think even Malcolm
Exactly.
X was like, it's like, oh, you used to do this, you used to do this. He said, yeah, I used to.
I used
And he
to.
just kept on smiling.
I used to. Yep.
Yeah.
That's like when you tell your story, can nobody hit you in the head?
Right.
Yeah, because you don't. Yeah.
Well, they say the devil can't do nothing because you tell him.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Right.
So those, kind of language I had to stop saying and diverting what I'm going through on the devil or the enemy. No, I did that.
Right.
I did that. And
Right.
this is how I got over it.
Right.
Right.
I said that. And this is how you break those word curses that you've spoken over your life.
And that's powerful because I think that's what makes you even more attractive, because it's like you're owning up to it, and other people are looking at it like, wow, she's being like
Transparent.
brutally honest with herself, but she's not throwing herself under the bus at the same time.
Exactly.
Right.
You know, and she's using that. Okay, yeah, I did that, but I'm moving on. And just because I did that in the past, I'm not going to let this next person take advantage of me. Been there, done that, ain't doing it again. You know.
Yeah, and this is one of the most important things while we're on this subject. Before I got too deep into my business, I was in my whole personal growth and development. I had to go back and apologize to my children and have those conversations.
Yeah, that was the question I was going to ask
Yeah,
you.
I had to have
Because
those
we bring ourselves into our relationships,
Exactly.
into our parenting, and we never dealt with the
Never
past,
dealt with it.
and we train our children from that paradigm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep, I had to have those before I even wrote that book. I had to have those conversations. They were hard, but I had to go through a level of healing first to be strengthened enough to hear their truth.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Were they
And-
always accepting? Like were they immediately like, okay, Ma, we forgive you, or were they
No.
sometimes responding with a little bit of anger, and you just
No,
had to take it?
I called them one by one.
Okay.
What I did, I consecrated, I got myself to that point. I called them one by one. And first I apologized. Then I had to hear their truth of what their perception of me was, how I raised them, what I did to them that I didn't even know they did to them. And one of the things God told me, you cannot come back with an excuse.
Correct.
You have to
Correct.
accept what they say.
Right.
This is their truth.
Right. Right.
You have to totally own up to it.
Right. Wow.
So I had to hear it without breaking down.
Right.
Now, how did you get to that point? Like, I know you went through all this, you went through things, and you're valuable and have so much to share, but what clicked in your mind that this is what I'm going to do now? This is
That
what
goes.
my purpose, you know.
Well,
I can share this, all this with the world.
a lot of purging. My transition from, I was into Atlanta for 12 years. And what a lot of people don't know, I pastored for 4 years. And then when I got to that point to where that little girl kept crying out, everything I tried to do was like, I was hitting a brick wall. And hitting a brick, like, okay, well, what's really going on? So I had to close the church, and I moved to Charlotte. And I kept hearing God say, tell your story. But I couldn't tell my story because I wasn't over my story. So I'm like, no. Years before that, I was going to go, training for life coaching. So I went through that process, and she actually got me on the journey of healing that little girl. So along the process, she gave me different homework assignments, and I did those and all that. Then I really began to dig deeper. That's when I really found the Les Brown and the Eric Thomas and the Lisa Nichols, and taking some of their programs and peeling back the layers and all that. And I started to feel that I can't prosper in my business until I get it right with my kids.
Right.
Because I can't share my story to the world.
Right, without sharing it to your
Without
household.
sharing
Right.
it to them.
Yeah.
And I was like, I do not want to be a public success and a private failure.
Exactly.
I can't do that, especially not where I'm at. So I had to go through the channels of getting healed and getting myself to the point where I could say, okay, now I'm ready. So I had to work on me. I had to get back to me and what God called me, not doing what other people thought I should do. Not doing things to be seen or to be heard out of the insecure place.
Right.
But from a true strengthened place. And it was in that process where I really discovered what I was called to do.
Wow.
Starting a new business is exciting, but it quickly becomes overwhelming and frustrating if you don't have the proper guidance. After working with dozens of business owners, I realized that they struggled with understanding marketing concepts. They didn't know what they needed to be successful. They struggled with implementation and optimization, and they struggled with scaling their business. So to help my clients, I created an activity workbook entitled Joining the 1%, Module 1, where I walk business owners step by step through the process of picking the right product, establishing a reasonable plan, creating the marketing funnel they need for their business, and how to optimize the funnel for growth. This is not a book you read, it is a book you do. This is why we call it an activity workbook. Instead of chapters, it has steps, and all you have to do is follow the steps to move your business forward. So if you're tired of running in circles, and if you don't actually have a game plan, then you want to get this activity workbook, Joining the 1%, Module 1. Go to www.joiningthe1%.com. Take care. Man, that's man.
That causes people to really check their heart. You know,
Your heart and your motives.
Yeah, your heart.
Yeah, it's
and
like
your
it's
motives.
that true self. You know, it's like you hear the phrases, and it's like I always tell people when you engage into like personal development and you start really becoming more self-aware, just the process of that alone, you know, it could be frightening, yet at the same time, it's like if you don't do it, you're not really bringing your best self to anyone.
To anybody.
You know, and it's like, and I tell my kids, I'm like, just make sure, you know, like whoever you are, you're bringing that with you wherever you go. And the better you know who that person is and the better you can work on whatever those things are that need to be worked on, then it's like now we're bringing our A game. And hence, when we bring our A game, you know, we become more valuable to people.
And there is no lack.
Exactly, there's no lack.
There is no lack.
And to go on to kind of piggyback on something you said, like even in the Bible, like we call this show The Journey to the 1%. And I was just going through the Bible and I was just looking at all the 1%ers in the Bible. Like Noah, he was so special, God saved him, nobody else. Abraham. Like these people were powerful men, Jacob, Isaac, David, you know, I'm just going all along the line. And I'm like, Lord, how did we miss? Like, how are we quoting the Bible but missing these points that these men and women were of great value and they didn't have lack, and their mess was being turned into a message. And how do we get from all that to what we're seeing in our communities, you know? And because I'm listening to you and I'm like, you know, like you're the and I was telling somebody else this, but I'll say it even when I'm listening to you, I'm like, wow, this is the piece that's missing. Mm-hmm. It's like, no, I need the prayer meeting, I need the fellowship, but I also need this piece, because it's like you're really getting into the how. You're really getting into the trenches. You know, it's like over here, it's like, oh, just pray. But I believe that when we pray, God is answering us, and He's answering us through counsel. Exactly. In a multitude of counselors, mm-hmm. there's safety. And so, ladies and gentlemen, Angela Brand, she's one of those counselors that that God is using to answer your prayers. And I was going to say this about husbands, even you husbands out there. You know, like, I think I'm listening to this and I'm like, wow, this is a good present to even offer your wife. You know, this is a good present to even offer, because I think it's because I remember when, you know, earlier this year when I gave you the consultant, and she was doing the whole makeover thing and the whole, and I was reading her website, and she was just talking about how, and you was mentioning earlier how when they're taking care of kids and they're doing this, and then they're just like, you know, they're so used to wearing this, and now it's like, and she comes in and does this whole wardrobe change and the whole 9 yards, you know, and it's like, but she didn't deal with the mental, you know, and stuff like that. And I'm like, wow, this is a really good investment, because it's bringing healing to the home. It's bringing mm-hmm. healing to the wife. And when the wife gets healed, now there's healing in the relationship. You know what I mean? So it's a win-win situation. You know what I mean? So it's like people downplay that, you know, these kind of talks. And I always say sometimes men, we try to replace this with like going to dinner or going to the movies. And I'm like, and I just had an epiphany a couple of weeks ago, like that doesn't really do it, because there's something else there. It's like that dinner is not reaching her yes. childhood. You know, that nice dress you bought her, it's nice, the vacation is nice, but there's something in her. And sometimes as men, we don't even know how to touch it. And I'm just, even me, I love my wife, but I'm like, I don't know how to touch that, you know? And listening to you, and I'm just like, look, she just, like a surgeon, just, you know, just going through that. So I commend you on what you're doing. I support you. I'm glad that we had this show. Me too. I can't wait to bring you back when we get more viewers, because it's like,
you know, a lot more.
Yeah, I just want to like just get more and more, because this is like really helpful, like yes, very helpful.
It really
is. Is there anything? What do you want to say to the audience before we close?
I want to tell women this. I want to break the word empower down. M-U, power, God. Mm-hmm. And when a woman is empowered, she can empower her home. She can empower her business. She can in turn empower a community. And then in turn empower nations.
Wow.
And my job is to help you discover the power that you were created in. And I will leave that at that. And if you're not operating in that power, then there's a disconnect between you and God.
Wow. I'm just going to say amen to that.
Yes.
Drop the mic.
Yeah, drop the mic. Wow. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
You have been listening to Joining the 1%. Angela Brand, Coach AB. Buy her stuff, buy her books. Mention your website again.
www.angelabrandenterprise.com.
Okay. And you have a few events coming up in Charlotte too. I know you're still doing a tour. When is your next event?
January 25th.
Okay, January 25th.
You can look it up on Eventbrite.
And they go there to register for the event.
Yes.
Okay. And it's still open for...
Well, we'll get the name and a link and put it in the description box.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do all that. Thank you so much.
That'll be helpful.
Anything you want to say?
I will be there. Well, we found someone to fix me. We got to find somebody to fix you. Any recommendations? Have you rubbed any shoulders with any men? Hey, Hey, we're on our journey.
Yo, this is a journey, and I'm just so glad that along the journey, this is the result of our journey. Like, she's sitting here because of the journey.
Yes.
And the cool thing about it is, like, we don't even know all the other things that's going to happen.
Yeah.
When you're really walking in your purpose and passion.
I'm
like,
just reaching the prefaces.
yes,
Yeah.
right.
Precipice, just on the edge.
Yeah, exactly, right.
Not the fullness. I'm just on the edge.
Our eyes have not seen.
Ears have not heard.
Exactly.
I can't even get to the level to comprehend it right now.
Wow.
And I always tell people, I say God's, you know, it's. I always tell people God's plans for us is bigger than our imagination. We can't even like phantom what He really has for us, you know, and so I just like this. You're just like touching so many buttons and so many like, you know, they say a preacher want to preach when they hear a preacher, you know. So
a speaker want to speak when they hear a speaker. Yeah.
Exactly.
I call it your baby to leap.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what's happening. So we're going to definitely stay in touch. We definitely got to bring you to our events and have you share with our audience as well, because this is very, very empowering. And so thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching Joining the 1%. This is Angela Brand. Check her out. I'm encouraging you. Follow her on Facebook. All of her. We put everything on the screen. Follow her, friend her, and do more than just follow her, but literally, like, you know, become a client. Like, you know, become a client. You know, it's like we're all in our lane, and I like bringing people on the show who's in a good lane, a lane that I can support, a lane that our community can get behind. And so that's what we want to tell you. Definitely support her. Hey, you women out there, go. You don't come to me, because I can't help you with that. I can help you with email campaigns and technology, but all that other stuff, there you go. You know? All right, thank you so much. You can go to our website, www.joining1%.com. You can check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/joining1%. And you can check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/joining1%. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment on what you think about this show, and get in touch with Angela Brand. Thank you so much. We will see you in the next video.